Physics is truly remarkable. It might be a bit challenging to grasp its complex concepts, but it can effectively elucidate nearly everything in the universe. Just envision every single element around us, from subatomic particles to the entire cosmos. Each one adheres to the laws of physics. Of course, there is still much to uncover in this field, but its principles already govern our world. There are still many phenomena on our planet that seemingly defy the very laws of physics, from the gombak, a shape that shouldn't exist, to the daunting vertical driving. Here are 15 of the craziest phenomena that challenge the laws of physics. Number 15. The gombak. It might resemble an ordinary object at first glance, but the gombak is one of the strangest phenomena you'll ever encounter. Shaped like an egg with sharp edges, its magic begins when you place it down, seemingly coming to life. Once placed down, it will start to move until it finds the perfect spot to be stable. So, how does this phenomenon work? The gombak is said to be a shape that shouldn't exist, yet it does, continuing to astound everyone who sees it for the first time. This shape only has two equilibrium points, meaning it's either stable or unstable, and it will right itself no matter how it's positioned. To better understand, imagine holding an egg. You can balance it once you find the right position, which is the stable point. Now, envision a rectangular metal object. You can set it down on any of its sides, and it'll stay in place. These are the stable points. However, all of its corners are considered unstable points. With most shapes, you need to find the stable point yourself. This shape will move around until it's at its stable point. Pretty cool, right? Number 14. The rattleback. Here's another unassuming object. It's semi-elliptical in shape and resembles a mini canoe. There's a reason for its name. The rattleback can only turn in a single direction, either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on its build and design. Most objects can spin in both directions, regardless of their weight distribution. For instance, a perfume bottle, a wine bottle, or an egg will spin in both directions. But the rattleback is different. This particular rattleback can only spin clockwise. And if you try to spin it counterclockwise, it will resist, rattling and slowly spinning the other way. The rattleback appears to violate the laws of conservation of angular momentum. But this is not the case. The law of conservation of angular momentum states that the total amount of spinning in any closed system is constant. Angular momentum is determined by the object's mass, velocity, and how far its mass extends from the point of rotation. So, if a skater is performing a spin, pulling their arms in will make them spin quicker, but extending their arms will make them spin slower. You probably already understand the concept. It may appear that this toy doesn't make sense in terms of physics, but it was explained in 2011. In short, it's just a smart interaction of forces: inertia, gravity, and friction. Number 13. Levitating foil. You're seeing it correctly. This is an aluminum foil floating in the air. The glass tank isn't filled with anything but air, yet the aluminum foil seems to be floating. However, it starts to descend after being filled with what appears to be air. There's no magic behind this trick. The glass tank is actually filled with a colorless and odorless gas called sulfur hexafluoride. The gas is denser than the air around us, which means you can pour it into a glass container, just like in this video. The foil boat is quite light, so it easily floats. But just like water, once you pour the sulfur hexafluoride on top of the foil boat, it becomes heavier, causing it to sink. It might be mind-boggling to see, but the science behind it isn't really complicated. Just think of its mechanics, like how a boat can float on water. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty similar. This demonstration might be cool, but today, scientists and researchers are opposed to using sulfur hexafluoride. High exposure can lead to the buildup of fluid in the lungs and severe shortness of breath. Additionally, this gas is recognized as one of the most potent greenhouse gases, which can negatively affect our environment. Number 12. Starlight. Starlight is a substance with amazing heat-resistant properties. It was featured in 1990 on BBC's Tomorrow's World. Starlight was a white, sticky coating that seemingly resisted an incredible amount of heat. In the demonstration, they coated a raw egg with the material and then subjected it to the heat of a blowtorch. Amazingly, the egg remained raw despite the heat, indicating that starlight prevented the egg from being affected by the heat source. Even after being directly exposed to the blowtorch, the egg was still cool enough to be safely picked up. So, what exactly is starlight, and why can it resist so much heat? Starlight was invented by British hairdresser and amateur chemist Maurice Ward during the 1970s and 1980s. Despite being such a remarkable material, it only gained the attention it deserved after being featured on BBC's show in 1990. It sparked significant interest among the public. This type of material has numerous potential applications. It can be used for fire protection and even spacecraft heat shields. Ward only provided vague details about its composition, and there isn't much else known about it. An American company called ThermoShield claimed to have acquired the rights to this material in 2013, but no Starlight products have been released to date. Number 11. Hydrophobic materials. During the rainy season, you probably get tired of washing and cleaning your car over and over again, only for it to get muddy after just one drive. Well, have you ever heard of hydrophobic materials? Just take a look at this incredible spray. This coating agent not only makes mud and water slide right off your car, but also prevents dirt and scratches. This is just one of the many uses of hydrophobic substances, which are things that are water resistant, meaning they don't really get wet. How does this thing work? After spraying the coating agent on your car, the water droplets will be repelled by the hydrophobic or superhydrophobic coating. Hydrophobic substances might sound incredible, but they're a lot more common than you think. You may even have some of them in your house. Waxes, greases, vegetable oil, and steroids are all considered hydrophobic. However, these materials might not be as effective as the coating sprays developed by companies. Number 10. Memory metal. Shape memory metals are one of the most intriguing types of materials. How exactly do they work? In this video, a piece of metal is originally shaped like a clip. In the demonstration, the man easily straightens the thin piece of metal. But after being exposed to high temperature, the alloy immediately returns to its original state. This is the reason they're called shape memory metals. These metals are alloys that can be deformed when cold, but they quickly return to their original state when heated. They're also called memory alloys, smart alloys, or muscle wire. These materials have atoms that arrange themselves into two kinds of crystalline structures depending on whether they're hot or cold. When cold, you can bend or reshape them, but once heated, the atoms will shift back into the original crystalline structure. You can determine the original shape by molding the material when it's hot. This defines its original form. Heating is the only way they retain their original shape, so temperature is the secret behind this mind-boggling trick. Number 9. Stone in the air. This is the new attraction at the Mozam Jahi Market Junction Road in Hyderabad, India. The installation consists of two rocks, one of them seemingly suspended in the air. It left many passers-by curious as to how the installation worked. Did the artist use any optical illusion to complete the trick? Or is there a magic trick behind it? This work of art is the product of great engineering. It was installed by the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation and was made by a team of people, including engineers. The rocks are actually balanced through gravitational force. The rock at the bottom is extremely heavy, while the rock suspended in the air is lighter. Both are made of fiberglass. There are also pipes of different sizes to support the two rocks, and the piece was completed with a rope. Although the science behind it is pretty simple, it's undeniable that the piece is intriguing to look at. Number 8. Monkey Man. If you're an avid wall climber, then you might already know about the Monkey Man of India, Jyothi Raj. This guy has some incredible skills that have led everyone to compare him to Spider-Man or a monkey. Just take a look at this. Jyothi can scale rocky walls with almost no footholds. According to him, he learned his climbing technique from monkeys that he keenly observed. Over time, he learned their agility and amazing climbing skills. This guy performs some pretty daring stunts on the wall, but he already knows where to put his hands and feet to effectively scale it without falling. He capitalizes on his incredible skill by performing stunts for tourists who visit the area. Upon seeing this guy, you'd really think that he defies the laws of physics with his gravity-defying skills. Number 7. Heron's Fountain. Heron's Fountain is a brilliant machine created by an inventor in the 1st century AD. Based on the name of this machine, you probably already know which inventor created it. It's none other than the hero of Alexandria himself, Heron. Essentially, you can create an endless fountain using 3 bottles, but it requires precision. Don't get me wrong though. Heron's Fountain isn't really a perpetual motion machine. It can run for several minutes, sometimes even hours, but perpetual motion remains impossible to achieve, despite many attempts throughout history. Number 6. One-way tent. You're going to love this tent, especially if you enjoy camping or hunting. This is the see-through hunting blind tent that features one-way vision. You can see your entire surroundings while you're inside the tent, but from the outside, you're completely covered. It might be a bit confusing, but there's no magic involved in creating this tent. Of course, science made it possible for us to create such an amazing feat. The ingenious design of this tent relies on a special type of scrim. This material is opaque when lit from the front, but you can see through it from behind. It's that simple, but the mechanics don't make it any less amazing. Imagine bringing this camping or hunting. You'd get the privacy you want when the tent is zipped, but you have the ability to view your surroundings. There is one downside though. The inside of the tent shouldn't be lit up, or else it'll lose its one-way effect. It's a pretty neat tent to use, especially when you want to be closer to nature without compromising your privacy. Number 5. One-way bulletproof glass. We all know about bulletproof glass. These materials are capable of protecting someone from bullets while still having the transparency of glass. But before I explain how one-way bulletproof glass works, let me explain to you how exactly this type of glass operates. Bulletproof glass is usually composed of multiple layers: glass, vinyl, polycarbonate, and sometimes transparent ceramics. Imagine you're a baseball player and you manage to catch an extremely fast-moving ball. To effectively do this, you have to move your hand back and stop the ball slowly to reduce its energy. With this method, you can catch the ball with little to no pain. This is similar to bulletproof glass. It can't physically move to lessen the impact of the bullet, but instead, it's designed to absorb the energy of the bullet gradually. Ordinary glass, when hit by a bullet, will allow the bullet to continue through, piercing anything or anyone behind it. But with bulletproof glass, although the glass may shatter, the plastic layers inside will absorb the bullet's energy, effectively stopping it. One-way bulletproof glass is a material that has the same characteristics as ordinary bulletproof glass, while also functioning as a one-way mirror. This material provides top-notch security and privacy, offering both protection from external threats and the ability to observe without being observed. Number 4. Perpetual motion seesaw. Perpetual motion. This concept has long confused and intrigued generations of physicists and researchers. The idea of creating a machine that, once set in motion, will continue forever, has been the goal of many inventors. However, none have been successful in creating one, at least a real perpetual motion machine. You see, perpetual motion is theoretically impossible by the laws of physics. In nature, there is no perpetual motion above the atomic level. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. Perpetual motion immediately contradicts this law because, for perpetual motion to work, it needs to produce work without energy input. Now, the second law of thermodynamics states that an isolated system will move to a state of disorder. Despite this fact, many people from all around the world have tried to create a perpetual motion machine. It would be great, but sadly, it's impossible. But take a look at this perpetual motion seesaw. It appears to be able to move perpetually once set in motion. How is this possible? Well, this particular seesaw is not a true perpetual motion machine. It is, in fact, a cleverly designed mechanism that stores energy in the seesaw's wooden parts. When the seesaw is moved up and down, the wooden parts compress and release energy, making it appear as though it's moving perpetually. It's a great invention, but it's not true perpetual motion. Number 3. Magnetic hills. Magnetic hills, also known as gravity roads or gravity hills, are places where the layout of the land creates the illusion of a slight downhill slope, looking like an uphill slope. If you let your car freely move on this hill, it will appear to move upwards, as if it's defying gravity. One of the most famous gravity hills is located in Laytal, India. In this small stretch of road located 30 kilometers from Laytal city, cars are said to be able to move upwards at the speed of 20 kilometers per hour, despite being left stationary. Because of this strange phenomenon, many theories have developed. Some believe that this road once led to heaven, while some believe that there's a strange supernatural being that controls the vehicles to move in such a weird manner. The science behind it, though, is pretty simple. It's either magnetic energy or an optical illusion. And like I always say, reality can often be disappointing, but watching the phenomena in action is still pretty awesome. Number 2, ibex goats. You have probably heard of this before, but goats are one of the weirdest and most bizarre animals in the entire world. Aside from their weird behavior, they're also known to have climbing skills that defy the laws of physics. These animals will climb an enormous dam, seemingly defying gravity just to lick some salt. While many of us fear heights, these guys risk their lives just to satisfy their cravings. In this video, these gravity-defying ibex goats easily make their way up an almost vertical dam. It kinda looks like they're moving with video game logic. These ibex goats are just continuously pressing their forward key to make their way up walls that are thousands of feet high. I guess if you're motivated enough, you can do almost anything. And what better motivation than some salt? How exactly do ibex goats manage such an incredible feat? The foundation lies in their hooves. This enables them to support themselves on the smallest edges of the wall's surface. Furthermore, their hooves have concave undersides that act like suction cups, helping them grip the sides of steep hills. They're also incredibly agile. Did you know that ibex goats can jump more than 6 feet without a running start? You can easily say that they're the gymnasts of the animal kingdom. There's even a running joke that ibex goats can climb any wall as long as it isn't completely vertical. It is pretty entertaining to see them search for salt high up in the dam, but it can be nerve-wracking, especially if you have a fear of heights. Number 1, anti-gravity. Anti-gravity, the ability to negate or counteract the force of gravity, has long been a staple of science fiction. But is it actually possible? Well, according to our current understanding of physics, there's no known method for creating anti-gravity. However, some scientists speculate that exotic forms of matter or energy could potentially produce anti-gravitational effects. For example, the hypothetical substance known as exotic matter could have negative mass, which would repel rather than attract other matter. While exotic matter remains purely theoretical, some researchers believe that it could hold the key to unlocking the secrets of anti-gravity. So, while anti-gravity might still be firmly in the realm of science fiction, it's an intriguing concept that continues to captivate the imagination of scientists and enthusiasts alike. And there you have it, 15 of the craziest phenomena that challenge the laws of physics. From levitating foils to invisible cloaks, these phenomena push the boundaries of what we know about the universe. While some of them might seem like pure fantasy, others could become a reality in the not-too-distant future. So, the next time you encounter something that seems to defy the laws of physics, just remember that the universe is full of surprises, and there's still so much left to discover.